My fellow Burkinabe, brothers and sisters of Africa, and all who stand against the chains of neo-colonialism, hear me clearly today. I, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, President of Burkina Faso, speak not as a mere leader, but as a son of this soil, forged in the fires of revolution. We have before us a grave violation, a blatant act of aggression that strikes at the heart of our sovereignty. 11 Nigerian military personnel, along with their hulking C-130 Hercules aircraft, have breached our sacred airspace without a shred of authorization. This is no accident, no mere navigational error. It is an insult, a trespass, a declaration of disregard for the borders we have fought to defend with our blood. Let me be unequivocal. These intruders will not be released. They will face the full weight of Burkinabe law. Our skies are not a playground for foreign powers or their proxies. Our airspace is not a shortcut for those who think they can fly in uninvited, drop their shadows over our land, and escape unscathed. No, they entered without permission, and now they must answer for it in our courts, under our rules, before our people. This is justice, not vengeance. Justice that affirms our right to self-determination. Justice that says Burkina Faso will no longer bow to external pressures or hasty diplomatic pleas. If Nigeria wants its personnel and its machine back, let them come with humility, with accountability, not with the arrogance of a regional bully hiding behind ECOWAS banners. But let us delve deeper, my people, into the rotten core of this incident. This is not just about one unauthorized flight. It is a symptom of Nigeria's insidious stance, a stance that has long sought to keep West African nations shackled as slaves to the Western world. Look at the history, etched in the scars of our continent. Nigeria, with its oil-fueled economy and its puppet strings pulled from Washington, Paris, and London, has positioned itself as the enforcer of neo-colonial order. Remember how they rallied under ECOWAS to threaten invasion against our brothers in Niger after their righteous coup. How they cut power supplies, imposed sanctions, and starved the people. All in the name of democracy, but really to protect French uranium interests and Western mining cartels. Nigeria's leaders, bloated on petrodollars, danced to the tune of the IMF and World Bank, enforcing austerity on their own people while propping up regimes that siphon Africa's wealth to European vaults. Punch this truth home. Nigeria's foreign policy is a betrayal of Pan-Africanism. They stand with the exploiters, not the exploited. While we in Burkina Faso, alongside Mali and Niger in the alliance of Sahel states, expel French troops, nationalize our mines, and reclaim our gold from foreign hands, Nigeria clings to the old chains. They host American drone bases, allow British oil giants to pollute the Niger Delta, and use their military might to intimidate any nation daring to break free. This C-130 incursion? It's a probe, a test of our resolve, sent by a government that views West Africa not as a brotherhood of equals, but as a hierarchy where Lagos dictates and the rest submit, like slaves in a colonial plantation. How many times have they blocked true integration, sabotaged the African continental free trade area with their protectionist games, all while exporting raw resources to the West and importing finished goods at inflated prices? This keeps us poor, dependent, our youth migrating in desperation, our economies bleeding. And let's not mince words on the hypocrisy. Nigeria cries foul over borders when it suits them, yet they meddle in our affairs through ECOWAS, that toothless tool of imperialism. Their president postures as a regional leader, but he's just a foreman overseeing the Western plantation. We've seen it in their support for French-backed puppets in Côte d'Ivoire, in their silence on the CFA franc that drains billions from Francophone Africa annually. While we arm our people against jihadist threats fueled by Western destabilization, Nigeria's forces, equipped with American hardware, serve as border guards for global capital. This airspace breach is their latest slap, a reminder they think they can overfly our revolutions without consequence. But no more. We will hold them accountable, expose their complicity in perpetuating slavery, economic slavery, political slavery, cultural slavery, that has kept West Africa on its knees for decades. Fellow Africans, this moment demands we sharpen our gaze on the shadows creeping across our borders. Consider the timeline, my people, the damning sequence that exposes Nigeria's treacherous hand. Just hours before this C-130 beast pierced our skies, Nigerian forces were rampaging through Benin Republic, not as liberators, but as enforcers of the old imperial order. They launched a so-called operation to crush a coup attempt against President Talon, deploying fighter jets to bomb rebel positions, ground troops to storm the national broadcaster, all under the guise of defending democracy. Democracy! Ha! What democracy leaves our nation's beggars at the gates of Paris and Washington? Nigeria swooped in like vultures, propping up a puppet regime that bows to French interests, ensuring Benin's ports and resources remain open veins for Western extraction. And then, mere hours later, this same Nigerian military machine emerges in our airspace, claiming a convenient technical failure, forcing an emergency landing on Burkinabe soil in Bobo Dioulasso. Coincidence? I spit on such lies. This is no mishap. This is malice cloaked in malfunction. Wake up, brothers and sisters. For Nigeria to orchestrate that bloody intervention in Benin, crushing a movement that could have toppled another neo-colonial stooge, and then have their war bird drop uninvited into our heartland? That should ignite alarm bells across the Sahel. This reeks of conspiracy, a calculated probe into our defenses. They are here to assassinate me, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the thorn in their side, the voice that roars against their servitude. Yes, assassinate. Why else would a heavily armed C-130, fresh from suppressing revolution in Benin, stray into our territory without clearance? This is no stray flight. It's a dagger aimed at my chest, at the very soul of our sovereignty. Nigeria's leaders, those lapdogs of ECOWAS, tremble at the sight of strong military men like me, like Goita in Mali, like Tchiani in Niger. We who dare expel the French parasites, seize our minds, and arm our people against the jihadist proxies they fund to keep us weak. Dig deeper into this venomous plot, my people, and feel the fire of truth burn through the deceit. ECOWAS, with Nigeria at the helm, has long been the whip hand of Western imperialism in West Africa. Their wish is crystal clear: remove us military leaders by any means, coup, sanction, invasion, or assassination, and reinstall spineless civilians who will sign away our birthrights. In Burkina Faso, that means handing our gold mines back to France, those glittering pits in Kaya and Hound that we've nationalized to feed our schools, our hospitals, our armies. Under their puppet, the Burkinabe people would return to abject poverty, scraping dust for survival while French corporations like Orano and IAMGold cart off billions in yellow cake and bullion. Remember the CFA franc stranglehold, draining 50% of our reserves to French treasuries? That's the ruin they crave for us. Children dying of malnutrition in Ouagadougou slums, farmers evicted from fertile lands turned into foreign enclaves, youth fleeing to Europe on death boats because their homeland is looted bare. But oh, how Nigeria plays the game. They meddle in Benin to abort a military uprising that might align with our AES brotherhood, preventing another nation from breaking free of the chains. Talon's regime? A French fortress, guarding uranium flows from Niger through Benin's ports, oil pipelines greased by Total Energies, and debt traps set by the World Bank. Nigeria's jets didn't defend democracy. They defended dividends for Shell and Exxon, ensuring the ECOWAS bloc remains a cartel of compliant states. And now, this C-130 intrusion, carrying who knows what cargo of spies, saboteurs, or worse, lands as if by divine accident? No. They carry out ECOWAS's bloodthirsty mandate: eliminate leaders like me who dare say non to neocolonialism. We've seen their playbook: sanctions on Mali that starved markets, power cuts to Niger that darken hospitals, threats of invasion against our alliances. This plane. It's their stealthy strike, a prelude to chaos, designed to decapitate our revolution and plunge Burkina back into the ruins of Comparis era, where French troops lounged in our barracks, sipping our blood like fine wine. Feel the rage, Africa. Nigeria's stance isn't brotherly. It's betrayal on steroids. They host AFRICOM bases in Abuja, train with American drones that spy on our movements, and use their oil wealth to buy influence in ECOWAS halls. While we in the AES forge self-reliance, trading gold for Russian wheat, Iranian drones for security, Chinese infrastructure without strings, Nigeria clings to the master's table scraps. Their operation in Benin was a firewall against our fire, stopping the spread of true independence. And this emergency landing? A Trojan horse, laden with assassins to fulfill the West's whisper. Remove Traoré, reinstall a civilian sellout, and let France reclaim the gold. That civilian puppet would auction our mines at bargain prices, sign IMF loans that mortgage our future, and leave our people in shantytowns of despair, where malaria claims the young and hunger hollows the old. Poverty so abject that our warriors disband, our borders porous to terrorists funded by the same powers that arm Nigeria's forces. Ruins! That's their vision. Burkina Faso as a failed state, a cautionary tale to deter others from rising. We cannot stand idly by as these vipers slither into our midst, pretending innocence while their fangs drip with poison. No, my people, I declare it here and now. These 11 Nigerian intruders and their ironclad C-130 warhorse will not be released. Not until we unearth the full, unvarnished truth behind their sudden, suspicious descent onto our sovereign soil. This was no gentle glide prompted by a flickering gauge. This was a calculated plunge, a technical failure, as flimsy as the excuses of a thief caught red-handed. We will interrogate, investigate, and expose every layer of this farce until the real motive crawls out into the light. Until then, they remain our guests, in chains, facing the unyielding scrutiny of Burkinabe justice. Let Nigeria howl in protest. Their demands fall on deaf ears fortified by our resolve. Delve with me, brothers and sisters, into the abyss of distrust that Nigeria's actions have carved. No such maneuver from the Nigerian government is ever born of good intent. History screams this truth from the rooftops of Abuja to the dunes of the Sahel. This sudden landing, mere hours after their jets scorched Benin skies in a brutal suppression of a people's uprising? It's the smoking gun of sabotage, a continuation of their meddling by air. Picture it. On December 7, 2025, mutinous soldiers in Cotonou rise against Talon, that French-favored autocrat whose regime has strangled Benin's economy with debt and corruption, leaving ports like a gateway for looted Nigerian oil and French goods. The people yearn for change, for a break from the neo-colonial yoke. And what does Nigeria do? They unleash fighter jets like F-16s and Alpha jets, bombing rebel strongholds, storming the national broadcaster with ground troops, all to restore order. Order for whom? For the ECOWAS elite, for the Western puppeteers who fear another domino falling after Niger, Mali, and our own glorious revolutions. But oh, the timing scorches the soul. By December 8th, this C-130, laden with military cargo, perhaps weapons, spies, or worse, veers into our airspace without a whisper of permission, claiming a precautionary landing in Bobo Dioulasso due to some vague mechanical woe. Sudden, convenient, treacherous. Why Burkina Faso, of all places? Why not divert to a friendly neighbor like Ghana or Togo, both ECOWAS loyalists? No, they chose us, the defiant heart of the AES, because this was no accident. It was an incursion disguised as emergency. Nigeria's government, under Tinubu's iron grip, has a track record stained with such deceptions. Remember their role in the 2023 Niger crisis? They mobilized troops to the border, threatened invasion, cut electricity that powered 70% of Niger's homes, all while pretending it was about democracy. Democracy that keeps uranium flowing to France's nuclear plants, gold to Swiss banks, and our people in perpetual debt servitude. No good comes from their actions, only the reinforcement of chains. Peel back the layers further, Africa, and witness the rot. Nigeria's military, bloated with American hardware from Boeing and Lockheed Martin, isn't a force for African unity. It's a mercenary arm for global powers. This C-130, a Hercules beast designed for troop drops, supply runs, and covert ops, didn't just land suddenly. It invaded to probe our vulnerabilities, perhaps to map our defenses or deliver agents tasked with stirring chaos. We've seen their playbook. In 2024, they hosted joint exercises with US AFRICOM, practicing counter-terrorism that conveniently overlooks how Western interventions birthed the jihadists ravaging our lands. Their good actions? Like flooding ECOWAS with resolutions that sanction our AES nations, blocking trade routes, and isolating us economically. All while their own delta burns from oil spills by Shell, their youth riot in #EndSARS protests against their corrupt police, and their economy teeters on IMF bailouts that demand austerity for the masses but yachts for the elite. This landing reeks of malice because every Nigerian governmental move in West Africa serves one master, the West. They prop up Talon in Benin, whose coup attempt was likely a genuine cry against his authoritarian rule, extending term limits, jailing opponents like Madugu and Ivo, and turning Benin into a surveillance state with Chinese tech and French backing. Nigeria's intervention wasn't brotherly aid. It was a firewall to prevent the flames of freedom from leaping to Lagos. And now, this plane on our soil? A bridge too far, a blatant attempt to extend that suppression northward. We won't release them until we know what cargo hid in that belly. What orders came from Abuja? Was it reconnaissance for a larger strike, or a drop-off for assassins targeting our leadership? No action from Nigeria is good. It's always laced with betrayal, from their silence on French exploitation in the CFA zone to their active role in undermining Pan-African projects like the AFCFTA, where they drag feet on tariffs to protect their monopolies. Burn this into your hearts, my people. Nigeria's sudden moves are calculated strikes against our awakening. They've blockaded landlocked nations like ours before, starving markets in Mali with closed borders, inflating food prices to break spirits. Their air force, with over 100 aircraft, including these C-130s, isn't for defense, it's for dominance, enforcing a regional order where giants like them feast while we scrape crumbs. This incident, the latest in a string of aggressions, from spying on our communications via NSA partnerships to funding proxies that destabilize our borders. We demand answers, not apologies. Until the veil lifts on their true intent, these detainees stay put, a symbol of our unyielding stance against such duplicity. Let this be a rallying cry that echoes from the savannas of Burkina Faso to the shores of the Atlantic. We will not yield. We will not release these captives until every shadow of their intent is dragged into the sun, until Nigeria confesses the poison in their plans, until the world sees their good actions for the imperial sabotage they are. And even then, justice will prevail, not hasty handovers, but trials that affirm our unbreakable will. My fellow Burkinabe, proud warriors of the Sahel, and all Africans weary of chains, this is our stand, our line in the sand. We reclaim our skies, our soil, our future from those who would sell it for Western trinkets. Together, in the alliance of Sahel states, we forge a new Africa, free, fierce, and forever sovereign. Vive le Burkina Faso! Vive l'Afrique unie!